the more viewership these guys have gotten, like the less they've been invited. I don't know what's happening. Stop watching this now. We gotta end the show.
Do not share this episode. Whatever you do not post it on Reddit. TI talent invites are out, and myself and Avery have the privilege of casting TI once again, which means our talent bundles are also in the game, including our voice line. So if you want to be able to support Avery or myself or both, check them out. They're here.
Get that little piggy. No. Wait.
Or, anime profile picture and edgy name.
Hey, brother, you want to see something badass?
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Not For Broadcast. Avery will hopefully survive long enough this time to record because his computer is fucked.
Yeah, thank you, Austin. That's really nice. I probably will not make it through this recording, so I got to get everything out very quickly here before one of my pieces of hardware explodes and burns my entire house down. And you know what I want to say is buy our voice lines for TI. Subscribe to our premium because I need the money because I actually have to fucking fix this thing. It's gonna kill me in my sleep. So that's my message for the day. I appreciate all the support and Godspeed to me. Godspeed to me.
Okay, well, let's get right into our first topic, which is we had a big patch that was dropped. Well, big is really overstating it. We had a small patch dropped, but it came with a lot of little pieces of content. We got a new matchmaking put into place. We have the TI bundles. All the stuff is ready to go for TI. They put all that stuff in the game now. We have some patch, basically our pre-TI patches here. And this is the patch that we're going to be playing the international on. So we have a little changes here and there. Start with the matchmaking first. Avery, what did you feel about the matchmaking changes? Do you feel like this is going to improve matchmaking in any way? Because we now have had the MMR adjusted. It is now capped at 9,500. Everybody has had their MMR adjusted as such, which surprised me. Frankly, I thought, if they were going to do something like that, they would just make people generally recalibrate. The cutoff for Immortal Draft is 8,500, which for anybody keeping track, so I was close to 10K and I am now 7K MMR. So they have really made it so the Immortal Draft cutoff is very high. It's a very small percentage of the player pool that is now going to be an Immortal Draft.
Well, it'll still be the same percentage, right? They just condense the field.
What? No, it's a smaller percentage.
No, because everyone who was immortal before is now also immortal.
No, but I was in Immortal Draft.
Yeah.
Immortal Draft, right? Where you pick players.
Oh.
Yes.
But you're still immortal.
Yeah, I'm still immortal, but the Immortal Draft is a smaller percentage of immortal players.
Did they keep the threshold for that?
Yeah, they're keeping it at 8,500 while everyone's MMR went down. So I'm saying I was in Immortal Draft very easily, and I'm very far away from Immortal Draft.
That's very good. This is a very good change. I mean, we're getting rid of the riffraff, you know what I'm saying? Kicking out the scrubbers.
You're also not in Immortal Draft, motherfucker. What? I know you aren't.
I was like rank 50 on the US server.
Okay,
so I don't know
what's your MMR right now?
I'm uncalibrated, dog.
Uncalibrated. I bet you're not 8,500.
No, the thing is, how's it going to scale?
Quinn is 9K after this change.
Right, but it's condensing it, right? It can't take, for example, if it did it linearly across the board, there would be no ranked Immortal Draft in any server. Which sounds incorrect to me. Like, there's no way they did that. They probably just compressed all the top down. But
it's entirely possible they made it that way because, right? Because then if you are one of those people above 8,500, you get into a game with people below 8,500, it's not an Immortal Draft game, just like before, right?
Okay, yeah. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I have to imagine there was some compression because they're not just going to, they can't push the guy at 100 MMR down at all.
No.
So it has to scale to some degree.
From what I saw, some people were saying that, I was 4K, I'm still 4K,
I think the main goal was just to get rid of this inflation at the top It's like a soft seasonal reset. That's how I'm viewing it. I don't think their goal was to like kick people out of the higher lobbies or anything. I think you're basically going to end up getting the exact same game, to be honest. I think it's just condensing the MMR range, which probably makes it easier for the algorithm to search and put people together, right? Because I think one of the big problems is like these 15, 17,000 MMR players is just like, what is that even doing for the system? It's irrelevant. So you gotta pull them back down. Maybe it gives people a better chance to recalibrate a little bit, or like, I don't know, some excitement about a season change. I think it's cool. I don't really play ranked too much anymore, to be honest. Like, my rank days are behind me. I find that shit stressful. I find the people in it more annoying. I think it's a worse way to play Dota. I think Dota's really been geared towards 5v5 over the last year or two, more than like the solo queue. If you think about any of the changes they've made in the last 3 or 4 years, like how much of that has been geared towards solo queue? I would argue very little. Like, that's probably the last thing they have implemented any of the changes on. It's all been content based, like bug fixes, cosmetics, crown fall. None of this has anything to do with ranked matchmaking. I don't think the ranked matchmaking algorithm has ever changed in like 6 or 7 years from our knowledge.
Not.
Maybe it has, but doesn't seem like it has. I feel like they don't care about it. And probably rightfully so. I don't think there's any way to really improve it meaningfully that's going to change people's daily experience in Dota. So like, fuck it. Just work on other shit and make the game fun. So
Well, I'll push back against that slightly. I think they absolutely could do things that would improve people's experience with rank matchmaking, but they probably require too much effort and too much manpower that Valve are not willing to put attention to it. And that is fair. I mean, we're like, Dota gets treated better than Counter-Strike matchmaking. So, like,
that's true.
At least we have that.
We're not Deadlock, though. Deadlock got a lot of stuff that was like, this would be nice in Dota. So we're not the prized unicorn anymore.
I'm blown away. I thought I was going to be surprising you with talking about the Deadlock matchmaking changes. Why did you read about that?
I'm a well-informed citizen, Austin Walsh. Like, I peruse all kinds of forums, all kind of news sites. I see everything. I see my name being used by other people, by the way. Are you aware of this? See, this is my topic for the day. You didn't think I was going to be prepared. You never think I'm prepared, but I'm a prepared individual. I'm always prepared. Give me that Boy Scouts merit badge. We put podcasts out there.
Yeah.
All right. And then these fuckers that just exist come and scrape our podcasts for quotes and then use those quotes to write articles to push content on their social medias. Are you aware of this?
Yeah. That's been going on for some time.
I know. That's the internet. I'm not saying we're like the first this is fucking happening. But I find it a little weird that this is like, what's going on? Because all of a sudden, the stuff I'm saying is being used to represent brands that I have no affiliation with.
Yeah.
There's got to be something a little sus about that. Like, I don't know. Is there like no IP law or something? Like, for example, could I just go and pull a 10-second clip from a LeBron James interview or podcast from his podcast and make it into a transcript and just post that on like my own news website? And that's news. And there's like nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, you actually can. You put some.
Damn. Damn. Okay.
And I'm pretty sure they do that. Pretty much anytime LeBron says something, these various news sites with various sponsors.
Okay.
Make a social media post about how this guy said something.
Okay. So I'll leave it at that. Very interesting.
Are you trying to figure out how to set a trap with this?
No, I just didn't think we were big enough that the shit I'm saying would end up, because I feel like a lot of the shit I say is, I hope people understand this, is it's exaggerated a little bit. There's a little satire, irony, or sarcasm behind a lot of what I say. I also have some good points here or there, but like there's a lot of sarcasm. And I feel like people are taking those and like treating them as if they're serious comments. And it's a little worried. That's all I'm saying.
I think they absolutely are. And that's just part of the age of misinformation that we have entered.
Yeah. So maybe I should just start saying more outlandish shit.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's just going to get picked up and spread around. So like, I guess, I don't know. What's a good rumor to spread?
That's literally when you thought this up. I was like, literally, you could just lay a trap where you say something completely outlandish and then follow it up with, at some point context of like, I didn't mean anything that I said before, but that initial part still gets posted. But then, like, what?
We'll think
like,
about that. We'll think about that.
But it doesn't do anything. The organization that fell into that trap, they got the clicks anyway. They don't care about.
You're right. It only helps
spread.
them.
It only helps them.
So, I don't want to help them anymore. I've already helped them too much. I fell into their trap. Oh no!
That's right.
There's no way out. They're going to quote this now. They're going to quote that I fell into their trap, and then now it's like out there and it's getting them clicks. There's no way out. How do I leave? I'm in the back rooms, Austin. I can't get out of the back rooms. No. This is the problem with AI. AI is smarter than us because it's so dumb that it just it doesn't know that it's dumb. You understand? So it does dumb shit and it doesn't care.
Play 4D chess. It's playing 2D chess.
Oh, man. Well, I thought that segment was really going to go somewhere, but I guess not.
Well, when it comes to Huel, when it comes to fighting these billionaire organizations, Avery, have you considered your boys Huel? That's right, Avery.
Yes.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for responding to my question. Thank you. This is this episode is sponsored by Huel. This is the black edition that I've got in my hands, both in the drink as well as the powder. Huel, if you don't know what it is a nutritionally complete, ready to drink meal. It comes in both the ready to drink bottle form, which has 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, 7 grams of fiber, and this is only $5. In fact, it is under $5. And then the powder has 40 grams of protein, and you can easily just mix it with water or milk. My preference is milk because I think it tastes a little bit better. Dissolves in about 30 seconds, and you're good to go. Again, it has the 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors, and it is a meal. It's not just a protein drink that you have on top of, something else that you're eating. This is a full-on meal that you have instead of food. And if you are thinking about picking up some Huel, well, you are in luck. They have a current offer going on, 15% off online for new customers. That is Huel, Huel. If you're trying to find it through Google, but you can also just go to Huel.com. And when you do, be sure to use our limited time offer we've got going on. Huel, make healthy eating simple. Get Huel today and get our exclusive offer of 15% off online with our code LFN at Huel.com/LFN. This is for new customers only. And thank you to Huel for supporting and fueling the show. Going back to the Deadlock matchmaking changes, for those of you guys who don't pay attention to Deadlock, they made some interesting changes to their matchmaking. They made it so that you cannot play ranked matchmaking until you have 60 wins on your account. So they're saying, fuck all these Smurfs. They're putting in measures to do that, which Dota obviously already has that. But an added wrinkle to it, they made it so that you have to have, first of all, you have to have 60 wins to play ranked. But then on top of that, you have to have 15 wins per hero that you play in rank. So if you do not have 15 wins, you will not be able to play that hero in ranked matchmaking.
Yeah, and then, you got to have a note signed by your mother and the principal too. It's like, what does that shit matter? None of this shit fucking matters. Let's be real. I refuse to believe that any matchmaking improvement is actually an improvement other than show me what's happening. Because I don't believe any of this bullshit. Be honest, I think it's just a black box and they say they're doing this shit. And I think in reality, they just jam everybody in the box. There's a fucking number assigned to you. If you win, it goes up. If you lose, it goes down. And they try and get the numbers as close as possible. That's all I believe is actually happening until proven otherwise. And there's probably some guy, Valve, who has 8 PhDs and developed the most complex matchmaking system ever. And he's really pissed that he just read that quote out of context through a third-party social media site on Twitter that may or may not be representing a brand that I disagree with. But you know what? That's fine because he's going to get the message, and now maybe we'll get some actual improvement.
Why the fuck is Thunderpick saying that Avery hates my matchmaking?
Here's what's going to happen, dude. Where's the limit on this? Is what I'm saying. You could get quoted not to bring politics into it, but you could go quoted by the White House Twitter tomorrow, right? The White House Twitter could go and be like, our great friend Austin Walsh said this, and all of a sudden you're affiliated with that, and you have no control. Like, think of how fucked that is. That's actually fucked, and they do that all the time. I read about it. Like, I know it's a thing, but like, I didn't think it would happen to me.
You know, I met Mr. Walsh. Mr. Walsh, great man. Met him January 6th. Oh no!
You better not joke, dude. That's gonna get picked up now. Now you're gonna end up on some AI bot's gonna scrape that
misinformation. Jenkins is already spread, so you know it's already too late for that.
Whatever.
Add in one more thing.
What were we talking about?
You also have to have 3 heroes minimum with 15 wins in order to queue in the matchmaking. Okay, so you're saying the black box things. First of all, this is very easy to prove this. Just make a new account in Deadlock and see if you can queue ranked. Now, whether or not this actually has an effect on matchmaking that is sizable, I could see that argument. Okay, certain people are going to make Smurfs and second accounts, and frankly, nothing's going to stop them. People are going to sell accounts in whatever competitive game because that's just the world we live in now. They also had a party queue thing where you can only solo queue or duo queue. So they allow some sort of party queuing, but it's only 2 people. And at the highest rank, you can only queue. Basically, if you're immortal, you can only queue with other immortals. So I do kind of wonder if, you know, they have thought about bringing back some sort of party queue to Dota because, well, that's been missing for a long time, at least on the immortal level.
I feel like that's never going to happen. I think they tried it once. They didn't like something about it. And that's all she wrote, you know? But I would actually support if in order to queue ranked, you had to submit a bill of health signed by a medical professional, preferably a bill of mental health. Maybe you have to have like a minimum hours of therapy or maybe community service or, you know, something that proves you're an upstanding citizen. And then once you scan that in, the Valve AI checks it and we're good.
Brother Bear, I hate to tell you this, but there were plenty of doctors and nurses that signed fake vaccination records during COVID. You think some doctor isn't? Think some nurse isn't going to be willing to $20 a go to sign off on your mental health to allow you to go play some matchmaking?
That's still a barrier. Dude, don't be one of those people that's like, we can't have laws because people will break them. Like, that's not a good argument. Barriers work. Why do we make certain substances illegal? Because there's a barrier
about
to
the
acquire.
black box and they just shove people in there.
Well, I'm just saying, if I could like click on someone's Dota profile, like I think the mini profile should just be a health record. Like, I should be able to click on that, and it's like a quick scan of like, this person saw a psychologist and was verified as mentally stable. And like, awesome, dude. I'm ranked, immortal rank, matchmake, selecting that guy first, you know? And it's like, I don't know. People could have all kinds of shit uploaded in there. So just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Throwing that out there. If you want to take mental health status checks for ranked Q as a clickbait title and upload it to your third-party social media site with a brand that I may not or may not be sponsored or agree with, and then turn it into an article, you can absolutely do that. That's an interesting idea that I may or may not represent. I'm just like naming it in this random podcast.
Well, talking about other ideas and opinions that you have about other things that Valve put in, they also put in a patch, but they put in some UI updates, which I will say, I will give credit to Valve. Big credit for this. I think that they have made Dota's UI, I think it is literally the best in any game ever. Like the amount of specialization you can do, the amount of stats you have access to, it is crazy. I actually don't understand why they put so much effort into this, but it is kind of cool that they just keep building on it and building on it and building on it, and it seemingly is never going to end. Because now we have some more post-game breakdown stats. We now have team damage mitigation. We have contributing damage, which I'm not... Is that like ion shell? Like, I don't understand what contributing damage is.
I don't know, man. All I know is every patch, this shit gets more and more complicated. I don't even want to go into the settings tab anymore. It scares me. It's like some fucking biblical anthology.
You're just like, what the fuck? Why are there so many tabs?
It's overwhelming. I saw somebody at Valve. It's some guy with 10 PhDs. He's more than the 8 PhD dude whose like life purpose is to make the greatest settings and user interface of all fucking time. And he's just been grinding this shit for 10 years.
Really
and I
has.
salute that gentleman. Like he is a soldier and he is doing his job. He is way above and beyond any, like, I don't know if he has a personal connection with Gabe and it's just like, every year he goes to his yacht and he's like, how's that UI coming? He's like, it's doing great, chief. I'm still working on it. It's like a 20-year project. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but that shit's out of control. And it's disgusting. It's honestly disgusting. Someone needs to get this guy help. Someone needs to get
I feel like that guy,
help.
Maybe that guy, and maybe that's how he ended up at Valve in the first place. But I feel like, you know how there's all those health apps and everything, like fitness apps and all those sort of things. You've got the watch that keeps track of all these, various things. I feel like this is the culminate. It's the ultimate statsification of your life. Like at some point in time, Valve is going to turn around and like sell this monstrosity, and you're just going to have every single possible stats metrics of your entire life laid out before you in a colorful tablet.
There's two things going on here for sure. One is this guy is going to get like the biggest bonus of a lifetime at some point. The other thing that's happening is like, I don't know. Does it actually matter if I can like go, like, where's the limit on this shit? If I can go in and like select like one of my alpha wolves, like right canine, and extract it with a hotkey, like, does that what is happening? Like, why is such a thing? I swear this thing is going to be like, we're going to find out that the code that has been written into this UI is like powering all the flock cameras or some shit. It's not going to end well. They're going to export it to like some fucking Anthropic AI or some fucking ballistic missile launch. I don't know what's going on. It's the game within the game, but I respect the game. I respect the hell out of it. It is by far the best UI and settings I've ever seen in a game. Sometimes I just scroll down that. I just admire it. Like
you're just like, here's all the things I could do to change Dota.
I don't do them.
I'm not going to do any of that.
I'm honestly scared of it. I'm really scared at this point. I used to feel like I knew. I also did a bunch of those the settings videos for the ESL Birmingham. I did them for another tournament too. So I was really familiar with the old settings. And I think the first half of those was on the old settings. And then I did the most recent set and it was on the newer settings from this year. And I was like, I didn't know where the fuck anything was. Some of these fucking Zoomers are pulling out shit in there. Like, you gotta like code it into a terminal. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's like crazy. These Dota labs, the things you can abuse with this, I don't even know if most people are aware of the shit you can abuse with it. I think most pro players don't even know what other pro players are using in actual games. Like, I watched, the biggest example is if you watched EWC, every Suns fan cast with the collapse in it, he was just talking about how many Aegis's collapse steals. And I'm 95% sure that the reason collapse steals Aegis every time is because he just has the setting enabled.
Yeah, the hotkey that allows you to ignore units.
Yes.
And so you just click in that area. And any hero that are standing on top of you won't click them. You'll only click the items that are on the ground.
Yes. Because when I talked to him about it, he literally has that enabled. And I said, what are you going to use it for? And he said, I use it for Aegis every time. And you can literally just, he has a hotkey and it just auto turns on bypass all units. And then you just spam click the Aegis and you're going to get it every fucking time. Like and especially if it's a muscle memory thing, which he built in. So like maybe other people are using it, but maybe it's not muscle memory every time, right? Like you have to build that. I'm convinced there's a lot of stuff like this in Dota where you just have some more efficient setting or better setting and you just win some small trades because of it. And I don't think that's going to change because I don't think anybody has 100% efficient settings. It's impossible. Like at some point, somebody just has some dog shit hockey or fucked up setting and they're like, I played with this forever and now that's just how it is. And we've all been there. And if anybody can show me otherwise, then you deserve to get hired and work with whoever guy got locked in the basement for the last 10 years working on this shit because, you'll be best friends with him. I don't know. This shit is actually out of control. Yeah, mad props. Mad props to the UI guy. Like you're a gangster. You're a gangster.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, we also have to add on to more of it. It's got kill shots. They now have kill shots, so you know what abilities got you kills, which I have to imagine is going to be turned into something. There's some way that you can sell something with that. You know what I mean? Some sort of cosmetic type deal. When you get a kill shot with a certain ability, something comes up, you know, like there's something there for sure. Somebody at Valve, this UI guy is apparently a support player, and he was like, by God, healing doesn't get the respect it deserves. So now you get a full healing breakdown of the numbers from the various abilities and items and the amplification that comes from that. Wild stuff. We also got a patch added on top of that. Avery, it is a small patch, but it's obviously a small patch. It's the patch that goes into TI. What were the changes for you that stood out? What do you think is actually going to be impactful to the TI meta?
It's another it's a small letter patch with a bunch of small changes. And to be honest, probably none of them individually matter that much. It's probably going to be the meta shift that happens as a result of, like, you know, this hero is 5% worse, so his counters get 5% better. And then because those counters are better, it affects some other hero. I think it'll just shift the hero pool. Like, I think that's the biggest thing to expect. I'm
okay,
sure
but you got to admit,
the overall
surely
meta.
they killed Snapfire a bit, right?
That was the biggest nerf, yes. She got
it was
damage
like
nerfs
4
across
kisses
the board.
nerfs.
Yeah, she's probably gone, which makes me sad because I think that hero's fun. Maybe Necrophos, he kind of like a tiny nerf. Again, I think Necro is also a hero that's like, you don't have to necessarily nerf him to nerf him. You just have to make his counters a little better. He's just really matchup dependent. So maybe something like that will come into play. There were some like cooldown reductions on some ults that I thought were interesting, like the AA. AA got a 10-second cooldown reduction on his ult at level 1, which is actually pretty big for the hero.
Yeah.
Like whenever these random big teamfight supports get their ult reduced, it really pushes them in the meta. We saw this with Warlock. We saw it with Lion. Like, I think half the reason Lion is viable at all is because Finger of Death is like a full 60 seconds lower level 1 than it used to be, which was one of the most outdated cooldowns of all time. But like, if you're a Lion player, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you used to throw that finger and you're like, well, I'll see you again in 3 minutes, boys, you know. But now it's like you can actually get some decent stacks going. So these cooldowns change a lot, especially for these heroes that are dependent on them, like in AA. I thought that was kind of interesting. I kind of still think we should see more Spectre. So I'm kind of interested in if that hero will come out. But again, it's like, that's another hero that's really counter dependent. If Necro still played, you're not going to see Spectre, even if she's getting small buffs. So it just gets really weird. Items wise, I'm trying to remember like what.
So there was the Chasm Stone nerf.
They nerfed the Chasm Stone. Yeah,
that's more expensive.
That's pretty significant.
All the items that go in with Chasm Stone cost the same, but Chasm Stone itself is harder to get to. There was mana regen amplification nerf on all of the items so Meteor Hammer and all the Kaya items. Those all got mana regen amplification nerf.
Kaya was the best mana item in the game, so reasonable.
Yeah, they've been. It feels like. I mean, you always said that. Like, what item do you get for mana regen now? And it was Kaya. So now what is it? You know. Like, I feel like now it's almost like, what's left? Just Soul Ring? You're just going to have to buy a Soul Ring on all these
Soul Ring's pretty bad. I think it's just Earn. It's like some casual... People are just going to have double Sobi Mask in their inventory, honestly. Like, that's actually the play now. I think that is the best left. Like, Clarities suck. Null's kind of like Arbo. Earn is okay, but not everybody wants to buy Earn. It's not that much mana regen. Orchid's dog shit. Like, what else even is there? Like, you're not just buying an Oblivion staff, right? So, I guess Void Stone into something, but Huel's is pretty bad too. Like, this is not a Huel's meta at all. What else are you really building Void Stone into? I guess Lotus? Like, Lotus was actually an okay mana regen item for, like, the offlane Centaurs and Bristles and stuff like this, but it's not a carrier mid regen item, right? So, I don't know. It's like a really weird spot if you want mana as a 1 or 2. Your options are really limited. Maybe Falcon Blade will come back a little bit.
I don't know. I feel like item. For me, because I play Clinks and I follow what the other pro players do on Clinks, and it's like they've abandoned Falcon Blade almost entirely for Soul Ring. You know,
it's expensive. It's probably just Soul Ring, or probably just still Kaya, honestly. If you're like some hybrid hero, they can do it like a Lina or something. Another reason why I thought Lina was going to come into the meta, and I still think that hero's really good, it's because she's a really good Kaya user. Like I think right clickers that can scale off of a good mana regen item are generally very strong because they farm fast and they can still be ready for a fight. The problem with a lot of agi carries is you deplete your mana to farm and then you don't have as much activation potential. Like I think that's part of what made SF strong is you can go this Kaya build up. Same with Lina. Same with carries that used to have like a really good Orchid path that was strong for a long time in the meta. These kind of things are generally broken. The other route you can go is you just like you build a farming route that doesn't use mana, which is why Radiance is generally pretty good because you just buy Radiance and you just run around. You're just a fucking dog with a giant golden bone. That sounded wrong, but you know what I meant.
That's been clipped.
That's going to that's going to the AI. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. I feel like they just keep nerfing the itemization routes for carries, and it's putting them in a really weird spot. And maybe it'll force some crazy shit to go down. Like we could get like some weird hard carries that weren't played before, but suddenly just become more viable because if everybody's itemization is shit, then they're just like better by default. You know, like Sven or something, right? Or even like AM. Maybe Battle Fury is better because all the other items got nerfed. Like maybe he has. I mean, that hero's just dog shit, so I don't expect to see him. But again, like Spectre, Radiance, right? Spectre's a pretty bad hero in terms of your item pathways. But if everybody's item pathways are bad, and she can just sit there and like shittily farm a Radiance, she does way more with that than other heroes that need to not shittily farm an item and actually need to accelerate. So I think we could see like some
Wraith
of
King
these.
Radiance and Soul Ring.
Wraith King,
You know, he's another example of
that. Heroes like this, right? These fucking like Garbo heroes that no one wants to play. Maybe they're better because it's like if I want to play some lane dominator like an SF or a fucking Clinks or something, like I really want to. My ideal item is like some cheap early lane domination item that gives me some mana and I can snowball like a Falcon Blade. Like that should be the type of item I want. But if all that's gone, I guess Mask of Madness is also in there. That like we could see more Luna with Mom. I could see that. Another kind of cleave hero, right? Gyro can make a comeback because Gyro goes Ags and Flak is pretty sustainable. So these are heroes that I'm kind of looking at, or like maybe the carry pool will shift because we're just pushing these items more and more. I don't think the mid pool is going to shift too much. I think the offlane one's probably pretty set. It's still going to be your beefy boys, your centaurs, your underlords.
That mana cost is going to come because you also had Drow Ranger who got nerfed, and that was on mana cost, right? So another example of a hero that was dominating in the meta and now is going to have some mana problems.
For sure.
If you've got some weight loss goals, you've been trying to hit them for a while, well, maybe this summer it's time to actually hit them. Weight Loss by Hims is designed to support you every step of the way. And now Hims offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen, so you can lose the weight and keep it off. With Wegovy at Hims, lose up to 20% of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate appetite, eat less, and keep the weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first ever GLP-1 pill for weight loss, so no need for needles. Through Hims, everything happens online. You'll connect with a licensed provider who will determine if treatment is right for you. And if prescribed, your medication is delivered right to your door. So, no insurance necessary. And it doesn't stop there. Hims makes hitting goals seamless by offering access to 24/7 messaging with your care team and in-app lifestyle and nutrition support, like recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content, and more. Even better, with a wide range of affordable GLP-1 options, Hims makes it simple to find a weight loss approach that fits into your world and your wallet. If eligible, you'll get a treatment plan personalized to you and unlimited dosage changes as needed. If you're ready to reach your goals, visit hims.com/NFB to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's HIMS.com/NFB. Weight Loss by Hims is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and to learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit hims.com. One last item change that will be impactful, but more so for pubs than for pro play, combined with a hero nerf, which was, Avery, you know this, Divine Rapier nerf.
Oh my! Who cares about this shit? Dude? I refuse to believe that this Zeus thing was actually that big of a deal. Like, there's no fucking way. I think it's one of those things. Everybody sees it once, and so they feel like it's really popular. But in actuality, it was probably in like 0.0000001% of games. You know, like I refuse to believe this shit is that.
I disagree with that entirely because people see that and they go, "Wow, that looks really fun / funny. I'm going to try and do that." And then they try and play Zeus. Maybe they don't get to Divine Rapier territory or the 80-minute, game where they're getting cooldown reduction. But that doesn't stop them from trying to do it in the first place, You know
what I would want to know is what the actual win rate contribution of that is. Because I bet you it's probably not that bad.
Yeah.
I think basically what I'm saying is the game where you have the 4-position Zeus who just AFK farms and holds off cooldown, or like every fight, I bet you having that over like some random 4-position Lion or something is probably a better win rate chance. Like you have a higher chance of winning that pub. So I feel like people are bitching about this, but if we actually did the stats breakdown, like it's probably actually good for you, because most low ranked players don't farm enough on support, and that guarantees you get a farm support. And most of the time, it's like how you win Dota. You just get gold. So I actually probably think it's pretty good. And then people are just complaining about it because they get like the one dumbass who just can't carry the game and they feel like he is the problem. But look in the mirror, pal. The problem might be you.
There was
That's
one
my
more
motivational
change.
quote of the day.
There was one more change, and there's really nothing to say about this. I just noticed it and was like, "Oh, thank God!" Which is the Venge Ags. It had the illusion. The illusion's vision was dog shit, which in principle I really like the idea of illusions were actually too powerful in that regard when it came to the information that they gave. So I like that they made it so illusions did not have the same vision as an actual hero. But obviously the Ag's strong illusion, it's supposed to be her hero. So it just made it so terrible. So I'm glad they changed that. That was obviously a bit of an oversight. Anything else that you remember from the patch that you cared about?
No, not really.
Nope. Okay.
That was about it.
On to the next topic before your PC crashes then, which is the last topic of the day. And that is TI talent invites went out, Avery.
They went out a long time ago. What do you mean?
Okay, well now they're public.
Okay.
And we have we have some people who are missing, and we have some people who are newly introduced. So should we start with the bad or should we start with the good? We'll start with the bad and end it on an optimistic note. So notably, I think the two most notable people missing were Purge and Khezu. Neither one got an invite to TI. What'd you think about that?
Well, are we leaving Brian out of this? Because Brian's on like his own.
Brian would also be on that list, but Brian has not been invited to TIs since TI 10, so not really a surprise there. Yes, he would be under the list of like what I think is A or S tier talent, but
I just want to give Brian a shout out. I was actually talking to him at EWC. I think he is. I think he gets memed on a lot because he's like BSJ and that whole thing. Yeah. But I think if people sat down and listened to the points he makes and how succinctly and well he makes them, and with like the right energy, they would genuinely be impressed at how much he's improved over like the last 3 or 4 years. I think he's absolutely an S tier talent. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. I told him that. I was like, keep it up. I think he's really improved his craft. And I know people are gonna meme on him because he's BSJ, but like maybe put your perception aside.
He is relentless in his pursuit of self-improvement. And I think it shows in
shows.
many avenues of his life, including his job. And I think I would agree. I thought he was the best panelist actually last year, from what I saw. So
I think I told him I think he always comes into a panel with prepared points, and that shows. And I think that's his strength. So I think everybody has their strengths, but I think he really plays to his well. I think Kevin and Khezu, that's rough for them, man. I think they both deserve to be at TI, but there are limited slots. And if Valve wants to bring more ex-pro players in, which is obviously the trend, someone's going to get cut. Like, you can't just keep loading the higher page, or at least they won't, right? So I think that's probably where those cuts came from. I'm not going to sit here and say like which panelist should get hired or which won't, or which caster should and shouldn't. I'm not someone who's going to judge that. I'm just thankful I get to do what I do. I think they're all great. I think Khezu's absolutely an S tier talent. I think Kevin is absolutely an S tier addition to the field if you want to do some of his particular segments or just throw him on the panel. So I don't think there's any reason they got cut in terms of performance or anything like that. It's sad they won't be there. I love hanging out with those guys. We got to play some Magic the Gathering with K-Dog in Paris, and that was those are some fun ass games. Fucking Mana Barbs his ass. He did not like that one.
I bought a new commander deck, by the way, that I'm bringing for TI. So it's got the theme is why are you hitting yourself? So you can look forward to that. I thought it was pretty interesting. Purge has been at every single TI outside of the very first one, the Gamescom one, which really it was just 2 people, which was Toby and Slesh. I don't remember who his co-caster was. And 2013, which I think might have been related to his time on Zephyr, because he was a part of 2012 and he was on 2014 onward. So he was the talent that was at the most TIs, I believe, combined with Shiver. Because she was at 20, she might have been in 2012, but she was at 2013 onward. Is that what I believe it was?
Well, you're saying just talent.
Actually, 2014.
Cinderin.
Yeah.
It's always
Cinderin's kind of a weird case because, he was player sometimes, but yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. Kevin's been a staple of TI. So, like, maybe they want to go a different direction with segments in the show or something. I don't know. Like, I never think it's fun to cut people. I don't know if he would have been my cut. I don't want to pick anybody. I love everybody in the talent circle, but I think he does add a very unique element, and he has that legacy factor. And I think it's like people watch TI and they kind of expect him to show up at some point. He's kind of like that feature. So really sad for him, and I know he's really sad about it. It just sucks, dude. I do think there was some inevitability over the long run of pro players retiring and coming into Dota, and like it was gonna fuck somebody at some point.
No doubt.
And I'm not saying it should be anyone in particular, but like that is the way of every sport, right? If fucking Shaquille O'Neal wants to go on the panel, even if he's a terrible talent, he's Shaquille O'Neal. Like he's taking your fucking panel spot.
That was probably a bad comparison to make because Shaq is great talent, but yeah.
I actually disagree. I think Shaq is not a good talent, but I think Shaq is a very funny person.
Okay.
Like he is a interesting character, but his actual talent skills are ass.
Yeah. Okay. So Charles Barkley is a very good talent. Shaq is maybe not a great talent, but he's mediocre, but he's.
I mean, it depends like how you what do you include in your description of like what makes a talent, right? I think he mostly just rides on his character, his wit, his ability to be funny and how he says things and interact with people. And that is part of being a talent. So in that sense, he is a good talent. But if you actually listen to like any of the points, like there's a lot of people who flame what he says basically on like a gameplay level, not that he doesn't but like he phones it in a little bit. You can tell.
And also on that side, he is not amazing. But then also on the entertainment side, how much is he enabled by Chuck? How much is he enabled by Ernie? Right? I think those are
And I think,
still significant.
I think we have some pro players that are like that too, where if you just throw them on a panel, people are going to find them interesting because they're like an ex-pro and they'll have some interesting stuff. But if you watch them for a year, like they're going to have to get carried by some other panelists, or you're going to constantly have to bounce off of them or feed them something. Like they're just not that charismatic of a character, I guess, which is also something that people look for in running a show. I mean, you got to bounce it out. I think all the players they selected for this TI are very natural, charismatic people, right? You know, like Gunner, Saberlight, Quinn.
I think
that Insania. Can't argue with any of these guys.
The most interesting one for me personally is going to be Saberlight, because he is a player, an active player who has more personality than much of the scene combined. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not he is actually good talent, because he is obviously a great personality to have in the scene, and he's a great streamer as a result. And then the question is, how good is he able to translate those skills into being talent, which is a slightly different subset of skills, you know?
I agree. I actually don't know if he's well suited for it. I think it'll be interesting to see what he tries to do with his character and presence, and how serious or how clowny he wants to get, who he has rapport with. I don't know if he's necessarily the easiest guy to bounce on a panel, like who fits with him, right? I think you have to figure that out. He could really shine, but you could also put him on some panels where, like, I could see it being really awkward. And that's not on him, but that's just how they work. I think he'll be the most interesting one in some ways. I will say I think it's a little bullshit that you can try to qualify for TI, fail, and then get a talent invite. I've always thought that's a little sus. I'm not gonna lie. Like, even when I was a player, I think it's okay to like bring a player who played at TI who got eliminated, bring him on for a guest panel or something. Sure.
Okay.
But like, because I think it's like, it's disrespectful to people who work talent the whole year. It's like, this guy played the whole year, and then because he like failed at the last part of the finish line, like, we're going to bring you out to the event, and then you get to take someone's place who worked talent the whole year and worked on the craft of being a talent all year, right? Like, this guy chose to play. He played the whole year. He failed to qualify for TI. He doesn't get to go to TI. Like, that is the pro and con of you being a player, and you can't complain about it. That's life. Like, to
make a comparison to Valve's own logic, right? They clearly had a problem with OG doing what they did with TI, right? Which is where they won TI, and then they just take 6 months off from the Dota scene, right? That's not terribly good for the Dota scene, for your biggest stars to just be able to just be like, all right, we're no longer participating until the big paycheck shows up again, right? And so they created a scene that forced them to be able to be more active than they wanted to be. And so I feel like this is very similar, right? Where, you know, you should be incentivizing, if those guys want to be talent, then they should be bringing that skill set and what they bring as talent to the entire year, right? Instead of just TI.
Yeah. Or like, they should be interested in doing talent work for the other events they don't qualify for, right? Or doing some content or big streamer presence or something. Like, if it was more like that, I'd understand. And maybe you could argue Saberlight's in that category. Like, he has enough media presence and used to stream or whatever that, like, it makes sense. But I don't know. Something about it always just like, I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. It just kind of pinged me the wrong way. Like, there's a couple things like that in Dota. Like you said, the OG one was one, like, where you don't play all year and you can just show up.
I will add another argument to this, because I think what Valve would probably say is, well, we're going to hire the best people, and we don't really care who that is. And I think one part, I don't know if, I'm not saying Valve doesn't do this, but I do think one part that some tournament organizers do not do is they do not build their panel, right? They do not say, okay, who do we must have for this panel? And they have this host and maybe this panelist. And then, okay, who goes best with those people, right? And then adds on top of that. And I feel like there have definitely been TIs in the past where they have not had the idea of building, you know, the product, and they just hire a bunch of people and they put them on together, and it's just it's not good because people don't have chemistry. They haven't had any chance to build up the chemistry because half of them are not working talent until this one event, right? And that applies even more so when you split up the group stage and the main stage, right? For other tournaments, the group stage is the same talent as the people doing main stage, right? And then if you don't even have the group stage to like warm up and then you're just going into main stage kind of cold, like I think that's also usually not advisable for tournaments, right? If any other tournament organizer told me that that's what they were doing, I'd be like, no, that's a bad idea. No, you want these people to be like hanging out for the week together doing the group stages, you know, that will give you the best product for the finals when you get there, you know? So I also don't think the argument of just like, we're just going to hire the best people works either, because talent's a interdependent, you know, job.
I agree. Now that you say that though, I can absolutely see their point of view of being like, well, if you don't want us to hire Saberlight after he doesn't qualify, then you should just be a better talent than Saberlight, especially since you've had all year to work on being a better talent than Saberlight. Yeah. And there is some validity in that argument. I'm not saying he is a better talent than the talent, but like from their point of view, if they think he's better, then it's up, like their point of view is you need to convince us, right?
Sure.
Because that's how Valve operates. And they have the right to do that. Like they should be like, well, then you convince us that you're more interesting than Saberlight, you know, and then it won't be even a close decision.
Or even just less interesting, but having more social media presence, right? Building up that in whatever regard it is. But I would say largely like building up a YouTube, which is something that, you know, BSJ, Khezu, and Purge all have actually done, right? Because they've all actually created a following and regularly create content for the game. Which is, I think, I have always felt that was the surest way to secure your position as panel to tournament organizers. You know,
well,
I always felt like if you're not doing that, you're probably fucking up. But yeah,
apparently it's the exact opposite. Fucking don't make any YouTube content. Don't have a following.
Shut the podcast down. Like, shut it down.
We're on the wrong path, brother. I don't know what to tell you because the trend is it's right there. The more viewership these guys have gotten, like the less they've been invited. I don't know what's happening. Stop watching us now. We gotta end the show.
Do not share this episode. Whatever you do, do not post it on Reddit.
Oh no! I knew I shouldn't have gotten into the podcast game, man. By the way, did you know podcast is an Apple owned term?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Huh.
They own it's a mix of iPod and broadcast.
Yeah, I never made that connection until now.
I never did either. And I read it today and I went, oh, that makes sense.
But hasn't it been
I don't know what that has to do with anything, but
hasn't it been too spread? Like the whole thing about like Uber didn't want you to call it. They wanted ride-sharing app to be a thing. Oh, yeah, because like if you overuse Uber, it becomes common parlance, and therefore like they lose the control over that, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like podcast has absolutely gotten to that point where they can't really do anything about it, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So we're fighting the system. That's all I'm saying. Fighting the man, taking on the 5 trillion market cap companies out here, one show at a time, That's what we do on this channel. That's why you should hit subscribe and go to the premium and make sure to donate because I need a new computer. I can't believe I made it through this episode. God bless, brother. God bless.
Thank you for watching another episode of Not For Broadcast. We don't really have anything else. We will be back next week to talk about our TI qualifier predictions, TI predictions. We're already past the qualifier stage. I'm sure Priscilla has some devious punishment in mind for whoever loses, but we'll get to that next week. Avery, last words to our lovely, faithful audience.
Thank you for the support. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends, tell your family, send the video to your dog. Make sure to check out that settings tab for the one guy who's been working it all these years. Make sure to check out our sound bites. They get clipped onto third-party social medias that I may or may not be represented by and have no association with the brand, but get used for their promotion anyway. Make sure to check those out because apparently they're fucking booming. And that's all I have to say, Austin.
Voice lines and subscribe. Buy your voice lines if you're interested. Also, subscribe. That also helps. Okay, thanks, everybody. Goodbye. We'll see you next week. Oh, wait, Avery. A little... No waving. No waving.
What, man?
Tell us about your stats video. Give a little teaser.
Teaser? I already gave the teaser.
When?
I said I was working. I mean, to give a teaser now at the end of this hour-long podcast, or it's like nobody's watching, man. You got to put the teaser at the front.
I put a teaser at the front of an all chat episode, so you can have a teaser at the end of the episode. At the end of this episode.
All right. Well, big video gonna drop. Big video. Priscilla's been working hard on it. We got graphs. We got animations. We got voiceovers. We got footage. We got stats, baby. We got stats that are gonna show who is the best mid of all time in terms of their peak performance. And it's dropping. And it's hard, conclusive data. It's not my opinion. It's God's will. That's what it is, Austin. It's a big ass video. It's a big chunky ass boy. Like you like some big chunky ass videos. This is one of them to get you hyped.
So you're saying that when it comes to like people always arguing MJ versus LeBron, who's the GOAT, right? All of these videos dedicated to solving that argument. You're saying you've come up with a definitive solution to people arguing about who is the best mid over Dota 2's very long.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Well, sounds like an important
That's
video.
right, because I think it's... That's right. That's what I did, Austin. And you're gonna see it. You're gonna witness it, and it's gonna change your opinion on a lot of things. It's gonna change your opinion on who was maybe written out too early in their career, and who should have gotten a bigger shot.
Okay.
And
I saw one of the graphs, and I will already say I was like, oh damn, that was interesting information. So I'm looking forward to it.
What graph did you see? Who's leaking shit out here, dude? Who's the rat?
I got my context. All right.
Wait a minute. Do you actually see a graph? What is this?
Thank you for watching.
Wait, what the fuck just happened? Who's the rat?
Goodbye, everybody.
Who's the fucking rat, dude?
Goodbye.
Tell me who's the rat.